Myles Garrett took up, and the idea of a trade took up a lot of yesterday. And it all started Tuesday when Albert Breer and Connor Orr had the conversation about why the Browns' timeline doesn't match up with maybe Myles Garrett's timeline and why it would make sense to trade Myles. The Browns have since, through numerous reporters, have said, no chance. And listen, I think we know how far we can take the Browns' word on anything, but that closed the door until Charles Robinson of Yahoo Sports, well connected to the Browns organization, went on 102.5 The Game in Nashville. Charles had a pretty strong report here on maybe a surprise team, or maybe not, that is lusting after Myles Garrett.
Rumor going around, and I have not heard it out of the Eagles, but I've heard it from a couple of other high-ranking people in other teams that are clearly on the phones, that, Howie Roseman and the Eagles are super hot after Myles Garrett, and how he'd give up like 3 first-round picks for him, which, if it's coming for the Eagles, those are 3 late firsts, so it's like even arguable. When you get through the draft process, how many first-round grades do you really have? Maybe you have between 14 and 18 in a typical year, and that means that if you're drafting in the late 20s, early 30s, you're not even getting a player that's really considered on your board unless you're lucky. But yeah, so that's kind of like this rumor that's out there that, hey, like Howie would really love a shot at him. But again, I was told by the Browns they're not interested in moving him.
Now, I think the reason why this is even more interesting is that Andrew Berry came back to Cleveland after a short stint in Philadelphia and has consistently told everyone how much he admires Howie Roseman and what he learned from his time in Philly.
Not just admires, says he thought he's been on the record before saying he's the best GM in all football. Like, he is not just admires. I mean, that is his role model in the football world. And also, Andrew Berry's twin brother works for the Eagles too. There's a lot of connections to the Eagles between the two teams.
Can I share my concern in this?
Twin brothers doing business?
I think it's more. I think there's a chance.
He's trying to help out Philadelphia?
I think there's a chance if Andrew Berry gets fired this year, he ends back up in Philadelphia.
It's a logical leap that you're taking.
And the funny thing is, the headline should be 3 first-rounders. There's something a little too incestuous here about this report being out there, about just this idea. Like, I almost wouldn't trust Andrew Berry to make. I would trust any other GM in the NFL to make this trade, because it's a 30-year-old edge rusher for 3 first-rounders. That's an incredible haul, no matter where those picks go. That's a quarterback haul for an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. Except Andrew Berry is just a little. He would have to recuse himself. We'd have to have JW slide in and negotiate.
Does this have to be approved by the Haslams? Like, does the NFL have to come in and step in and make sure that it's all in the up and up?
Yeah, well, maybe it's like when you change dealers at a blackjack table where they do the thing of
wash the hands clean.
Show here, wash the hands clean, and then Glenn Cook comes in and goes, I got change for 50, and then he says, it'll be 4 first-rounders, nerd.
I thought you were doing Vegas Vacation, the Changing 500.
Yep.
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
I listen, does this change anything for me? First off, I love the idea that a team like the Eagles are involved in this. I love the idea that it's super hot was the term that he used.
Super hot.
I don't even gauge that. He's super hot over Myles Garrett.
It's like you're like 13 years old and you watch the scrambled stuff on Skinamax when you see something like, oh, that's that hot.
That's super hot.
Yeah. I just caught a glimpse.
So we've had Jalen Ramsey traded for multiple firsts before. Laramie Tunzel was traded for, I believe, 3 firsts. Like, we've gotten to this level where you can legitimately say a team would trade this type of capital. Does it intrigue you though? Even Charles kind of put a damper on it, saying that every pick for the Eagles would be 25 and less and everything like that. First off, I don't know that that's entirely true. It seems like it's probably more true than not. But that part doesn't really change the math for me.
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, if the Browns, if Howie Roseman called up Andrew Berry and said, I'll give you 3 firsts for Myles Garrett, that's his first offer. If you out of hand reject that, that's dumb. No matter any of the other things you said about me not trusting Andrew Berry to make this and a little bit of I'll scratch your back if you give me a job when I get fired, no matter how uncomfortable that part of this makes me, you just have to talk about it. 3 first rounds. Again, it's a quarterback offer. Like the Rams didn't get this offer for Matt Stafford, or the Lions didn't get this offer for Matt Stafford. Think back to, this is roughly half the offer of what you gave up for Deshaun Watson.
Right.
So I understand that there's a lot of complications to this. And again, I don't know this is the exact deal that I'd say yes to, in fairness. But if you don't have this conversation, I don't know what the point of you being an organization is. This is the exact kind of, hey, let's think one more time about this because we're never going to get this offer again.
And think about it. The Browns always tell us that they constantly have conversations, right? They're open to every conversation. But then the only thing we have from the Browns is from Schefter 24 hours ago saying that you got a better chance of winning the lottery than getting a trade for Myles Garrett. You see how it doesn't compute here?
Yeah.
It continues to just not add up. But that's why I told you yesterday that I thought the Schefter report, if anything, raised the stakes for me from 3% to 6% about a potential Myles Garrett deal.
I have a working theory on this.
All right, let's hear it.
I think the Browns want credit for not trading Myles Garrett. I think, what's the old line from Mad Men? If you don't like what people are saying about you, change the conversation.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Right now, people are saying you're 2-6, and Barry and Stefanski are almost certain to get fired, and these guys don't know their head from their ass.
So at least you're not Jerry Jones?
Yeah.
Is that the credit? At least you're not going to trade a franchise player?
Well, I think it is. We didn't get enough credit for not trading Myles in the first place. Well, now let's put this out there again in one way or another, and then we'll say categorically, we're not doing that. And that is some stand. It's not, when I say credit, what I really mean is it's trying to show, hey, united front, we're not that organization anymore. I can understand if that would be an angle that this team that is so hell-bent on controlling narratives about them, could I see them, I don't want to say leaking a report, could I see them throwing ideas out there and for the media to salivate on and then dismissing it out of hand as a show of solidarity or a show that they're not completely lost in the sauce? Yeah, I can't put that past this organization because honestly, at this point, I think they might care about machinations more than they actually, or how things are viewed, more than they actually care about wins and losses.
Right now, it feels like if that's their goal, it's backfiring on them. Because there are more people that when we did the conversation in February about Myles Garrett claimed you cannot trade Myles Garrett that are now why didn't they trade Myles Garrett 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Why, if you're going to be this bad, if you're going to be a 2-6 team with no threat of winning, and it seems like next year with the quarterback class is probably going to be up in the air as well, why didn't you just trade him anyway? They're not winning this. If that was their goal, they're not winning the conversation.
Yeah, honestly, I think the other part of leaking this week is they're sick of people talking about how Andrew Berry can't show up to media availability, something he's done the first 5 years he was here. I think everybody was very quick to be right now, the Browns, I think I would not put it past that group to leak just about anything in a name. It's 2-6. It's Barry's leaving Stefanski out to dry. The fans and media have this team dead to rights. They are desperate. And so much of everything that they've done implies desperation and or at the very least division between Barry and Stefanski. So I can't put it. And by the way, I don't respect it. I don't. If you're trying to do diversionary tactics, this is a supposition. It's not a fact. But if this is the game you're trying to play when you're halfway into what's going to be a lost season, I just think it might be more pathetic than anything else they've done, which is saying something because the recent track record is about as low as it can be with this organization.
Well, 2 weeks ago after the Miami game, we got the Jimmy Haslam quotes to Diana Rossini, followed up to the quotes to Ian Rappaport. And then this last couple days, we've gotten what we can only assume is Andrew Berry. It's not saying Andrew Berry quotes, but we're assuming Andrew Berry quotes given off to Schefter and everybody else. What are we going to get next week?
So to the specific
Podesta going to finally speak? I don't know.
So I want to give you a reason in about 5 minutes why there's another reason you have to consider this if you're the Browns. But right now, the crux of this is it is the most analytically driven organization in the NFL. And it's why, when we've had Sumer Sports on, Lindsey Rhodes, before Myles requested a trade last year, was
was on it.
You should trade Myles Garrett for draft picks. And then everybody was really mean to her in her mentions, which is really not great, guys. But we're working on it, okay? We'll get through this together. But, you cannot tell me that if this is true, which is a whole nother part of this, on if it's actually true. If it's true, the Browns being the foremost analytical organization in football, to dismiss out of hand 3 first-round picks offered for Myles Garrett, would be the most counterintuitive thing. Like, that would be another sign to me of like dysfunction or that you can't get on the same page if you're not following the own logic, which is, hey, this is an incredible offer for an aging player. We at least have to have serious conversations about what that Godfather offer looks like.
Well, that's why the saving grace of this report is that Charles didn't get it directly from the Eagles. He said he got it from other people around the NFL. So, because it doesn't make sense. You're right. It doesn't make sense to, how would I even defend them turning a deal down that is offered up like this for Myles with where this team currently is? You can't do it.